G'day and welcome to the GameDay Squad State of Origin Fantasy Show. I'm Stu, that's Dyl, and we are the Fantasy Bros. Well, it's State of Origin Game 3 time, the decider, and we're here to provide you with everything you need to know to succeed in the 2026 edition of the Queensland versus New South Wales Special Comp on GDS. Joining Dyl and I to preview all things Game 3 as well as Game 2 and 1, of course, is that familiar face on the Fantasy Bros channel, the XRPEffect. He's currently leading the Queensland versus New South Wales series with just the one game to go. He's got a narrow 2-point lead over good friend and former host of this very show, Penrith. Matty, welcome once again, mate. How do you feel being the hunted? And I hear that man Penrith is a little dirty. You've taken his spot on this show. So what would it mean to get another one over him tonight?
Thanks, boys. Appreciate that. Third time on the show. And what I could say is we've been given some good advice out there to allow me to be at the top of the table. Look, it's really close. There's only 2 points here between me and Penrith, but might be a couple of left field options that we throw out there tonight that people can either fish for or maybe I'll play myself. So let's see how we go.
And in terms of the game itself, mate, I see it as a bit of a win-win for the Blues. Win, and you obviously lift the shield. Lose, and Laurie Daly simply cannot be appointed coach ever again. Which outcome would you prefer, mate?
You've absolutely nailed it on the head. I think Laurie Daly sitting on the bench, if he can find a chair this time, would be the best outcome for all the supporters. But it's interesting. I've never seen Queensland be $1.30 favourites yet still call themselves the underdogs, Stu.
We're always the underdogs, aren't we, Dyl? How are you going, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah, thanks for welcoming us in again, and thanks to XRP or Matty for joining us. Look, just before we go on, I know we are talking rugby league and all things State of Origin, but I heard on the grapevine that, Matty, you struggled over the weekend in the AFL side of things in the Cup and actually got dusted by FantasyBros Pity. Mate, hopefully that's not going to affect this game tonight for you.
Sorry, what's AFL?
Love it. Look, plenty to play for tonight, and obviously just the 2 points in it. So there's going to be a lot that we're going to talk through. I know that you put up a trade yesterday, or looking for a trade yesterday for Liam Martin State of Origin card, and I was really hoping you were playing a little bit of mind games with Penrith, thinking that you didn't have that, so then he was going to play Liam Martin. I hope that was the case.
Let's see maybe what the positions for the edge forwards roll out for us tonight, hey?
Yeah, we'll get into them very shortly. G'day to Tracy, all joining us once again. Thanks for the support, Tracy. Sif Kanga, howdy, let's get rowdy, as always. And Izzy, g'day, thanks for joining us, mate. Hopefully we can point you all into the direction of a few handy tips once again tonight. Let us know in the chat who you're going for as well and what your score prediction is too. Kieran Taylor's here saying, let's go Queensland. Alrighty, Dyl, we've been doing the show for a couple of seasons now. For anyone new to the show, what will tonight's show look like?
Yeah, mate, a little bit different from our usual Wednesday nights live preview shows. We're obviously not talking about the full round of NRL. It is just this one-off game, or now the 3 one-off games. We're going to go through each position. We're going to talk through the start sets, talk through who we like and who we don't like. And look, just to tease again, there might be a potential spicy take near the end of the show as well from Matty. I know we were talking about it yesterday. Look, we're going to talk through some of the point of differences and more importantly, probably the salary pods, the ones that we want to put up a little bit of extra salary, and we can do that through a number of different ways. The benefit of the Queensland versus New South Wales competition or special competition is anyone can access it. You can play your bronze cards all the way through to platinum, no diamonds, no legends. So it can be available for any coach in any sort of format of the game that they're currently playing. Plus, we've got those Queensland versus New South Wales special cards that give you that 1.4 multiplier for the salary of a silver. So an excellent little salary pod there. So we're going to go through all of those. Make sure you're subscribing to all of our channels to keep up to date with everything as well. Just search at FantasyBros AU, because next week we'll get straight back into the NRL content as well.
Yeah, definitely not too late to get started in either competition. If you're maybe with some friends or family and sitting around the couch watching the preview or waiting for the game, get them involved in Game Day Squad as well. Get them to build out a team and test their skills against you in the Queensland versus New South Wales competition. New users can sign up using the code FBRL26. Not only will they be able to enter a team for tonight's game, which kicks off in about 2 hours' time, but they can join us for the rest of the season and enter a team from scratch. They'll get 3 9-player common packs for entering that code, and that'll get them started with their starter squads and contender squads as well. And during the game, you can keep a close eye on how the points are unfolding with them and get them addicted to Game Day squad. So that code again, FBRL26. If you're with some friends and family, or you've stumbled upon this screen and you're interested but haven't yet set foot into Game Day squad, now is the perfect time to do so.
Yeah, 100%. Look, just before we get into our positional previews, Matty, you'll know this. Stu and I sent out a quick survey on Discord earlier in the week to our GDS community, just gauging some feedback on the show and the content and timing, etc. We've obviously made a couple of minor changes this year for various reasons. So first, we're super grateful to everyone that got involved with that. It's great that you took that time to give us some feedback and let us know how we're going and what we can do to improve. And look, we put up some cards for a giveaway as well. So Stu, I believe you've done a bit of work in the background behind the scenes. We're going to give away some cards now. So do you want to take that away for us?
Yeah, really grateful for about 26 respondents to that survey in 24 hours. So that'll help us moving forward, not just for the rest of this season, but into next year as well. I have gone ahead and spun that wheel off camera. We've seen how much of a disaster that wheel has caused to both of our streams when we've done that live in the past. But look, rest assured, it is 100% official and fair. I've done it once and once only. I think since Ruben Cotter is going to be a pretty hot commodity for someone tonight, if they haven't got that card, we might say that that's the first card that we'll give away, and the person that has won that obviously can claim that in the next 2 hours. Dyl, I might get you to comment in the Discord shortly once that name is revealed, and that person can claim that before 8 o'clock if they wish. And then we'll give out Hutto Young, Diamond, and then Adam Dewey third as well. So the winners are on screen now. Busy Chiss, I think it's Busy Chris. Maybe he was so busy he forgot how to spell his name, but he was the first name spun. Busy Chiss or Chris, if you'd like that Ruben Cotter before 8 p.m, mate, get in touch. Dyl will probably post something in that Discord. If anyone knows Chris, let him know that he's won that Ruben Cotter. Star Chaser, take the Hutto Young, mate, and Holmes Alone. Thanks for your support as well. The Adam Dewey is coming your way. Let us know on Discord or Instagram that you're ready to collect that card and put up a bronze for him, and we'll get that sorted as quickly as we can. Just another reminder of how being closely connected to the Fantasy Bros and tuning into our streams and that sort of thing, and being on the GDS Discord server can land you some pretty red hot prizes. Hopefully those cards can do those coaches well over the next couple of weeks, and particularly tonight with Ruben Cotter. Boys, let's get into all things Game 3. We'll start quickly with the team list on screen. A number of changes, particularly for those boys in blue. Matty, what's your take on a brand new backline look? Really, there we've got Bostock, Bradman Best, Critter comes back in, Mark Nawangani Tuase playing his second match. How do you think that backline is going to stack up? Obviously, Jojo Fafita has ended the career of Brian To'o, one of the best wingers in New South Wales Origin history. Did you see that one coming? And what do you think of Bostock and co around him?
Yeah, look, there's not many times you drop your best player over many series, is it, boys? Yeah. But I think there was a defensive weakness there for To'o across the first 2 games. It got really exploited by the Queenslanders. So, you know, hand on heart, it's really disappointing to see Brian leave the team, but I think we've made a really good decision there, putting a 6'5" winger out there that should nullify then that aerial attack that Fafita has. So, look, the backline actually looks quite strong. I was there 2 years ago at Suncorp when Bradman Best went down that left-hand side of the field to score that winning try, and memory's ingrained. Hopefully there's a similar situation tonight. So I think Best not only provides a little bit more attack for us, just with his big body, but he's quite good defensively too. So given that matchup that he probably has there on the left-hand side with Toya, I reckon that might be a bit of a better defensive matchup for us as well. So look, the backline looks pretty strong. Actually, I think it's probably the strongest one we've had for the game so far. But my main concern there sits in the halves. Really thought that possibly there might have been a switch back to Ethan Strange over Mitch Moses. But look, we've stuck strong with Mitchie there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bradman Best as well. Pretty good Origin record. I don't think he's lost a match that he's rolled out there in the sky blue. Maybe do you see any changes happening to that forward pack at all before kickoff? We'll obviously get team lists in probably the next half an hour or so. Is Cam Murray finally going to get a start?
I don't know, mate. Like we spoke about this last time, right? How hard is it for us here to sit as casual fans and go, the best decision that New South Wales could make would be put Cameron Murray into the starting 13 position. And I just don't see Laurie moving away from that one. I think he's more of a pick and stick kind of coach. So I don't see any late changes happening tonight. If there was to be one, I think the murmurs out there would be that Isaiah Yeo goes to 10, Barnett comes off the bench, and Murray starts at the 13, which, to be fair, would be the ideal situation. I think would put us in a really strong position. You see in the first couple of games, been quite slow in that first 20 minutes, and then Cam Murray comes on and just really changes the game. So whether or not we want to give away 18 points in the first 20 minutes again, we'll leave that up to Laurie.
Yeah, I think that game one record with Cam Murray on the field, when I don't think the Maroons scored a point when he was on there. I think that certainly says something, but then he even got less minutes in game two. So one man knows what's happening there, and that's big Laurie Daly, isn't it? Of course, talking casual fans, we got Danners. I'm not so sure how casual Danners might be if he is who we're expecting. He is AFL fan here. He reckons is the game tonight worth tuning in for. Absolutely, mate. Put your pride on the line, whether it's Queensland or New South Wales. It will be a ripper. I'm sure you've built your Queensland versus New South Wales squad, mate. So good luck for tonight. G'day to Ganners as well. Dill, pretty settled side there for Queensland. Probably, heading in as favourites, although we still like that underdog tag. Do you see much the same happening for Queensland? Are they going to play that similar attacking brand? They obviously scored plenty of points in game two. They went out to a comfortable lead in game one, or is it going to be a little bit tighter? Do you think the boys are going to sort of defend their way to victory tonight? What's your take?
Yeah, I really hope that it's all-out attack. Obviously, from a GDS coach perspective, I hope that there's plenty of attacking options and plenty of attack across for both teams so that we get plenty of points in it. And we talked about last time, Matty talked about the fact that a lot of our averages sort of sit around that 30 to 40 mark, which is not as exciting as a GDS coach. We want to see some big scores similar to what Cobbo put up. So for me, a little bit selfishly, I kind of would like to see some change. I don't think Britt Nakora is good enough for the Queensland side, to be honest. I thought game one, he was horrible. Game two, he was a little bit better. But in a game where we scored plenty of points, he ended up with very few. Excuse me. So I wouldn't mind seeing Jeremiah Nanai come into the side. I know that's quite selfish from a GDS coach perspective as well. Nakora just is not up to scratch. And someone like Jeremiah Nanai, who Billy Slater said he didn't need to see his performance a couple of weeks ago to pick him. He knows exactly what he's picking and what he's going to get out of Jeremiah. So I think that's probably the better option. But I think it's probably just going to be that set and forget at the moment based on what we've seen. We haven't seen either coach make any changes to that final side. So I think we're going to stick with that.
Yeah, absolutely right. Let's have a quick look at the rules before we get into the positional previews. As you can see on screen there, the Queensland versus New South Wales competition is free to play. We have an opportunity to put as many special cards in our team as we like. You can still get them in packs if you're pretty keen to fill out some more in your team. They get a 1.4x multiplier up from the normal 1.2x. I know Matty's got plenty of them in his side, and that may be a big reason why he's sitting pretty high up there on the leaderboard. No diamonds, no legends in play. You can play your bronzes right through to those special cards, though, and plenty of cash up for grabs to first, second, and third. But probably more importantly, for some of the casuals or some of us without as many special cards, there's prize packs all the way down to 250th place. So if you don't think you can compete with some of the big boys, fill out a team anyway and get plenty of packs to help out your season-long team. Boys, let's rip into the hooker position. A pretty simple one here. We've all gone Harry Grant. I don't think Reece Robson has done enough in game one or game two to warrant selection whatsoever. I'm really tempted to consider Blake Brayley. Let's talk Blake Brayley. Matty, we'll start with you. Surely he gets more than probably 20 or 25 minutes at the end of that game. I potentially see him coming on before the halftime break and maybe staying there. I think he provides a little bit more creativity. And certainly if the Blues are behind, they're going to need a little bit of a change there. What's your read on that hooker position with Blake Brayley on the bench?
Yeah, mate, you're dead on there. Like, I think there's an opportunity for Brayley to get some more minutes tonight. I think that game 2 strategy from Loz was a little bit dependent on who was on the bench. Probably just didn't see Appy, as we spoke about in that game 2 preview, just with as much defensive fortitude that we have or what we need up the middle, whereas Brayley is a bit of a machine when it comes to his tackling ability. Not only that, but his attacking output that he can have when he gets a quick play the ball too. So I think if there's going to be any changes for New South Wales, it's probably bringing on Murray and Brayley at the same time, where they can go. Murray can get a quick play the ball. Brayley gets that opportunity to duck out a dummy half. And if we do get that opportunity, I do agree that it's probably that 10 minutes before halftime and maybe that 20 minutes after halftime as well, where, you know, potentially that's where Brayley could rack up a quick 30, 35 points. And as we spoke about before, like anywhere between that 35 to 45 is a really good GDS score for a single game output.
Dyl, 80 minutes for Harry Grant in game 1, 77 in game 2. He's just a standout option in this position, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. But you look at those numbers in terms of, I mean, you'd think from a GDS output perspective, he would have been a lot better. He's only averaging 40 GDS points across those 2 games. So, yeah, if Brayley does come on and he does spend significant time on the park, he can turn those minutes into points a lot easier. So I feel like if you are someone that is not competing for the top spot potentially in the series-long competition, but you are trying to put in some point of difference, I don't mind having Brayley there over Harry Grant, because so far, yeah, he's scored 35 and 46 in his 2 games. We obviously know that Harry does have that attacking output that, you know, we saw glimpses of it in that second game. But if Queensland do run away with it and the game script goes the way of Queensland, then I think, yeah, Harry Grant will be the one. But if you want to take that risk, I think Brayley's a really good option as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we're all pretty clear there with the Harry Grant. I do like the Blake Brayley, but I'd probably team him up with Harry Grant. I don't think I could sit through a Queensland victory, and Harry Grant probably got his fingertips all over it. Been one of the better players for the Maroons over the first 2 games. But yeah, love the Blake Brayley shout if anyone is game to go there. Just quickly, Matty, if someone doesn't have a Harry Grant Queensland versus New South Wales card, is he someone that we'd be loading up some salary on, or probably just go simple there and look to put some salary elsewhere?
I think the output, as you spoke about per minute there, is probably just worth a lower tier for a salary. I think the upside that we can get from a middle forward or an outside back has been proven here in the Origin arena. So if I was to need to play a Harry Grant, it's possibly a silver, at max a gold card there.
Yeah, I'm with you there as well. Boys, let's move on to the middles because there is plenty more to discuss there. And I'll give our viewers a bit of time to digest what they can see on screen. I think I've got the accurate depiction there of who we want in our sides. If anything has changed or if anything's wrong, boys, feel free to call out in a moment. But let's just start with the 3 middles that we're all pretty confident in. And that's obviously Isaiah Yeo, Cam Murray, Payne Haas, the triplet New South Wales combination there. Dyl, start with you first. Despite them being in the wrong coloured jersey, we just think they're going to get through too much work and they're too hard to leave out of our sides.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, it is hard to see 3 blue jerseys in the middle of our GDS squads, but I think that it's worthy of that spot. Yo's been hard to ignore after averaging almost 70 minutes across those first 2 games. Look, he's one of the best middle forward options for sure. His average is 47 than every other except for Murray. And he's another bloke that is really hard to ignore. You often, I think we kind of get stuck in our ways sometimes with players that are sitting on the bench, and we don't necessarily want to play those in our full week-long NRL competitions because there is upside everywhere else. But in a game where we're restricted to just those 2 teams, I think Murray's a perfect opportunity really to take those points and run with it. His work rate is unbelievable. It's actually almost identical to Maxi Plath as well, coming off the bench for Queensland, who we'll talk about in the edges. But look, Cam Murray, he's averaged 36 tackles, 75 running metres, and over 1 or 1.5 tackle breaks per game. So it's almost 50 GDS points in base and power. He obviously has some attacking upside as well, but we don't probably see that as much. But it's just that base and power that we need. So, yeah, for those reasons, I think. And then add Payne Haas into that, and we know he could be anything. He's averaged 56 GDS points. Is as many minutes minutes across his Origin career. So I think those three are the simple ones. It's these other ones that, you can see on screen where we've gone a little bit different across a number of our squads to try and work out where some point of differences are.
Speaking of those differences, Matty, first of all, are those two extras correct? You've gone Tino, Paddy Carrigan. Is that a bit of hedging your bets just in case the Maroons do show up tonight and get one over your boys? Firstly, are they in your side, and why have you gone Paddy Carrigan there?
Yes, they are currently both sitting on my reserves on the bench there. I've gone just with a 2-edge strategy and a 5-middle strategy, not to give anything away for the edges, but for me, I think I really stick firm on the fact that you just need to get some reliable scoring in these games. And when it comes to Tino and Paddy, they're both averaging about 40 to 43 across their Origin careers. So there is a little bit risk there with Paddy Carrigan, first game back after 5 weeks of a Mitchell syndesmosis. But what we need to be considerate of is back in 2024 when he was playing some minutes between 50 and 55. He had an average of 49 GDS points in the 2024 Origin series. So if he can recreate that one, I think he is a really good shout for this game. But for Tino, there was a lot of talk during the week there about playing for his dad, who passed away earlier on in the series, and I think for him, this might be more of a pick that I think just could be vibes. Big game. Tino could be out there really trying to prove a point, and I think he therefore gets a spot on the bench for me.
Yeah, all good points there, but I'm wondering why you've both gone without Ruben Cotter. Matty, you first. 56 minutes in game 1, started on the edge, played a little bit through the middle. 70 minutes starting at lock in game 2. What's the thinking there? No Ruben Cotter.
In game 1, I was very keen on Ruben Cotter based on his 2025 performances there. But I think one of the the keys to GDS is trying to minimize your negatives. And for Ruben, he is a really good tackle bot, but he's also really good at racking up some negative stats in missed tackles. So 4 missed tackles in game 2 and 7 in game 1 leads to a total of about -40 across the first 2 games. And you just can't have those kind of defensive lapses as well. So if I'm going to see what the interchanges look like as well, having both Carrigan and Max Plath on the interchange, I think that Cotter might only see 30 minutes tonight, where both Plath and Carrigan get that 50 to 55 minute role.
Similar thoughts there, Dyl?
Yeah, 100%. Look, those missed tackles really hurt him. It turned those sort of 40-plus scores into sub-35s for both of those games from Cotter. So the other thing, he hasn't recorded a tackle break or an attacking stat this season, this series either. So you want a little bit more upside there. Obviously, you love the work rate that he has, and he's an absolute workhorse for Queensland. But we've got another one that's, I guess he's almost identical, and that's Max Plath. He comes out and does a really similar job to what Cotter does. So you could be on the money there, Matt, with those minutes and Maxi Plath. I just absolutely love his gameplay, and I want to see more of Max Plath in that Queensland side. So I hope he does come on and have a big game. The other thing I actually don't mind the Carrigan shout, averaging 47 minutes off the bench across his Origin series, and he's averaging 45 GDS points within those 47 minutes. So if we see anything upwards of 45 to 50 minutes, I think we're going to bank another 45 or 50 points.
Yeah, it might be a case of getting the sting out of the game for those two, and then staying on the field for a big majority, and getting through plenty of work there as well. Well, we've mentioned Max Plath a couple of times, so let's roll into the edge forward position. Pretty simple there for you and me, Matty. Both Hutto Young and Max Plath. Dyl has gone for both of those as well. But talk to us about Jeremiah Nanai. Is that going to stay true if the squad remains the same and he does stay on the bench, even if Nicoros starts? Are you still happy to have Nanai on the bench with the possibility of, let's face it, it is a chance in 2026 with 6 on the bench that he may see limited minutes? I think we saw Fine Filiaki with 8 minutes in game 2. Talk to us about Jeremiah Nanai.
Yeah, it's probably a bit of everything. It's wishful thinking that I hope he does get the start over Nicola. I think just both Nicola and Capel have been pretty poor from both, a GDS perspective, but also a Queensland perspective. Capel hasn't done a lot. Matty talked about it a couple of weeks ago that he does have some big games in it, and we've seen that in the past. But I think both of them, Nikora and Capel, just have not been up to scratch in terms of GDS. Capel missed 12 tackles across those 2 games so far. He's not recorded an attacking stat at all. Nikora played, a bit in that game too. He played 80 minutes in that game too, and he only managed 25 metres with the ball in hand. He ran 100 metres in 41 minutes in game 1. Those numbers are pretty concerning for me. So it's kind of like the lesser of all of those evils, I guess, at this stage. If Nanai does come into the game, I think then he's going to be a great option. But I'm sort of leaning maybe towards Carrigan now if we don't see that change and Nanai stays off the bench. Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to read, given that, like you said, Finifuaki had limited minutes in the park. Jeremiah Nanai could do the same thing. But if he comes in at all, it's just going to be all that attack from Nanai, and we know what he can do, whether the ball's up in the air or he's running onto that short ball with a really nice line. So, I think at this stage, it's the lesser of 2 evils. And look, Nanai's played from the bench 6 times at Origin level. He's averaged 33 minutes and 14 points across that time. So if he stays there, it's probably a no. It's probably going to be Carrigan.
Matty, you teased Liam Martin in the Discord yesterday. What's your read on the interchange with Haumole Olaquatu on the bench? Does Liam Martin see plenty of time there on the edge? Does he move into the middle? How many minutes for Haumole? I'd love to have him in my side. I just can't quite get there at the moment. It would be at the expense of maybe a Ruben Cotter. What do you see? Obviously not in our sides, Martin or Haumole Olaquatu. Are they close to getting a spot for you? And what's your read on their sort of involvement in minutes?
Yeah, look, mate, Liam Martin is super close to sliding into my DMs on the GDS team. What we've got for Liam Martin is a real upside when it comes to being coached from Laurie Daly. So, mate, back in 2025 when Liam was healthy, he averaged a 46 in the 3 Origin games that he played. So that was across about 70 minutes. I think the trouble that I've got is the unknown minutes there for Haumole, and knowing that Haumole is definitely going to come onto the right-hand side and not take minutes off Huddy Young. So I think it's probably going to be game script related to see how many minutes that potentially Haumole gets. But if New South Wales is looking a little bit tired and Liam Martin's not too far back here from a pretty serious injury, there could be an opportunity where Liam only gets the first 25 to 30 minutes of the game. So based on his previous scores, Liam Martin is not a bad shout. And if you do have a Liam Martin card, I probably would recommend playing him. But I just can't call it playing safe for me tonight. I just can't see him going in my team at the expense of a Tino or a Paddy Carrigan.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think it is pretty difficult. He's averaged 57 minutes this season for the Panthers. Obviously missed a number of games through injury and just the 32.6 GDS points in those 57 minutes. So hasn't really done too much in terms of fantasy point accumulation. We know that State of Origin is a completely different arena. Dill, out of those 2, Liam Martin, Haumole Olaquatu, if you were to find space for either of those 2, who would it be and why?
Or I think it would be Haumole, just because of the potential attacking upside. I think Liam Martin's there is a big defensive bully, and we've seen that quite a lot from him in the past, where he gets up in the face of the Queenslanders, he shuts his player down, and then he stands over them and makes a point of what he just did to try and fire up the rest of his team. And if it doesn't quite go that way and they're starting to chase some points, I think Haumole comes onto the field pretty quickly as that more attacking minded player, and I think that's where we'd get the upside from that right edge. So I think for me, based on how I see the game going, that game script, I think Queensland will take an early lead, and I think they'll be chasing points. I think Haumole won't be too far away.
And he's probably better suited to that maybe 50 or 60 minute type game. He knew that he was probably expected to go 80 in game 1, and he really struggled with the fitness toward the back end there, and maybe that was playing on his mind, and that's maybe why he had a bit of a disappointing game there. So if he knows that he's only getting that 50 or 60 and he doesn't have to start that match when, there's plenty of energy and plenty of fire, and he can come on. Maybe Martin moves into the middle. Maybe he comes off early. I think there's plenty of upside in Haumole Olaquatu. He's been in my side all week, and I'm probably going to have to reassess over dinner a little bit later on after we go offline, because I would just love to see him come on and make an impact if it meant it being beneficial for my GDS team. So we're going to get some team lists out probably in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Matty, what do you think about the rotation? Is there a chance that we see Blake Rayleigh and Ethan Strange take the field? If so, that probably gives more reason for someone like Kamole or Liam Martin, probably Liam Martin seeing a bit more time through the middle, or even Hutto Young playing some time through the middle. We've seen him do that in the past in State of Origin. Is there a chance that AFB doesn't see any minutes and therefore we expect a bit more from these starters?
Absolutely. I think the guessing game that we've all got is how many minutes will every New South Wales player end up with at the end of the game. To see Adam Fanua-Blake only get 9 minutes in game 2 is such an attacking weapon is just a disgrace to the interchange, really. So, look, boys, a little bit of intel was down at Salt, where the New South Wales players were staying the other day, and Big Matty Burton was taking some big strides along there. So, if there's going to be any late changes, maybe Matty Burton comes onto the bench at the expense of Ethan Strange, who is still holding a bit of an injury. So, look, I don't see anyone on that New South Wales bench at the moment other than Cam Murray as a viable option, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see if there's any discussion points in 5 or so minutes when those final teams do drop. Boys, I think it's pretty boring from this point onwards in terms of our selections. I think we've gone pretty straight bat, fairly similar. So feel free to throw in some curveballs if you like. We'll start with the halves. Obviously, Nathan Cleary, Sammy Walker, Cam Munster, Mitchy Moses can be selected. So can Ethan Strange. But still, there's really no reason to go beyond any of these three, is there? I flirted with the Mitchy Moses game too. Clearly did not work. But sometimes you need to get different to get a leg up here. Is everyone likely to go these three? They're just the three clear options, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they are. And I think out of all of them, I think Sammy Walker is probably the closest to securing the player of the series. We obviously thought, Nathan Cleary, he hasn't really had a big moment in Origin yet. So we thought maybe this year might be the year. But that so-called traffic cone has been unreal for Queensland so far. In fact, I reckon maybe Cleary can be called that traffic cone now. He missed 10 tackles in game 2. That's 30 GDS points that he absolutely left begging. I said last time on the show that there's only one time that Cleary's been outscored by his halves partner, and he got very close in that game. But in true Mitchell Moses style, 13.8 GDS points was well behind Nathan Cleary's 19 odd. So, yeah, I think for me, I think it's clear cut that, Moses probably just not good enough. There was some talk by a couple of experts, I think yesterday or today, over on NRL.com about them actually swapping roles and Cleary going to 5'8" and Moses playing halfback. If that was the case, is Moses then someone that you would look at over maybe Munster?
Moses has done absolutely nothing
to
warrant any sort of suggestion in a side. Disappointingly, really, all season long. And I feel for Eels fans as well when you think about Clubland and how much time he's missed for them to make himself available for these fixtures. And was fairly unsighted in game 2, went off early. They've gone back to him again when, Ethan Strange was probably the best player on the field in game 1. Obviously a lot better when Queensland were down to 12 men. But look, I still don't know why they had to change anything in game 2 there. Matt, is it a pride thing that they've stuck with Mitchy Moses? Can he turn things around? Can he be the game breaker? Is there any sanity in anyone actually picking Mitch Moses for game 3?
Look, boys, there's only one New South Wales halfback in the past 8 years that has won a game 3, and that is Mitchell Moses. Now, during that game, he was the sole halfback. We had a Jerome Luai there and not Cleary. So in the absence of Cleary, he got 49 points. But as we spoke about last game, in the presence of Cleary, I think he's averaging less than about 30 points now. So unfortunately, I think that that role of the primary ball player is still going to sit with Cleary. You can't take that away from him. He's generational when it comes to the game, and unfortunately, I think he's got to be able to prove himself tonight. If anything, tonight might be that final hurdle that he needs to get over to win a game 3. And us as Blues fans speak about that most years, and we are quite hopeful for it. But I do think that when we look at the team that's been presented tonight, is probably the best opportunity that he's had to be able to achieve that game 3 win.
All right, boys, let's move on to the centre position again. Pretty boring. We've gone for the same picks there in Robbie Toya. Bradman Best returns to the Origin arena, scored a remarkable try in that match that you referred to there, I think, to break the game wide open late on before Moses did score that match-sealing try. We've gone Bobby Toya because he's been outstanding just about every single time he puts on that Maroons jersey. They'll actually come up against one in a face-to-face. We do have Jojo Fafita that we can select. Stephen Crichton can be selected in that position as well. Tolatau Kula off the bench, probably very difficult to get to. Probably won't see any time on the field. But Dyl, we'll start with you, mate. Best and Toya head and shoulders above someone like Stephen Crichton, or was it a bit difficult deciding on which two you're going with?
Yeah, Critter's probably close. He's probably closer to Toya than he is to Best at the moment. I think Best is locked into my side for sure, and it's just going to be that last spot that I'm not sure about yet. Best's featured in Game 3 for New South Wales twice, so 23 and 24. In both of those appearances, he scored 45 GS points. And he's just a different beast when it comes to Origin. You touched on that try that he scored, and he also scored 2 tries in that 2023 dead rubber. But it was really that decided that he stepped up and went, this is my arena, this is what I can do. And that image of him at the end of the game, busted lip, covered in blood, it still haunts me, and I'm sure it still haunts a lot of Queensland fans as well. It's not nice losing at Suncorp for sure, especially in a decider. But look, I think the other upside there for Best is that Queensland allowed more to left centres than to right side in the past 6 years or 6 series. So plenty of points available to that left side at 40 GDS points on that left versus 32. So I think there's definitely some upside there. Yeah, just going to be down to whether I go with the Critter or the Toya option. Toya hasn't been amazing in his career at Origin level, but it's probably the lack of other options that we probably are looking at Toya. Maybe base script as well, potentially base game script, based on game script. Looking at Queensland potentially dominating, Toya probably having some say in that as well. Fafita scored 33 points in Game 2 after crossing for a try and breaking 3 tackles, so I'm putting a line through him. He's not going to be able to touch the ball in the air at all with Bostock there as well. And then Critter, when he starts at Origin level, he's only averaging 33. So I think potentially Toya running at best. He's missed 8 tackles in his last 2 Origin games, so there's potential for Toya to have a few broken tackles as well.
Matty, where do you see the Blues game plan heading in terms of attack close to the try line? Are they going to want to target Sammy Walker on their left edge and Queensland's right? And that would obviously be through Hutto Young there and Bradman Best. Is that somewhere where New South Wales are going to try to exploit, and a big reason why you think Best is a standout in the centre position?
Yeah, it is. We go back to that Game 1 preview, and we spoke about the I think that left-hand side for New South Wales is the more attacking side, especially with Hutto Young down there, and you put Hutto Young and Bradman Best together, and it's going to open up a lot of opportunity for some offloads there out to what we think is probably going to be Bostock there on the left wing. So I think for me, looking at where Queensland line up defensively, Hammer, he just shuts players down when it comes to the centre position, and there is an opportunity where we might be able to play 3 centres in this game, where it's Toto, Best, and Critter. When you go back and have a look at their Origin history, all of them are averaging over 30 points. And I think for those who might be looking from a salary perspective, I'd probably be putting your lowest salary here on the centre position, really just driving it down to a silver and putting that salary up there in the mids or the edges, because Critter, as you said, Dill's only averaging 33 across his Origin career, and Toya's only here at 35. So I think we're picking between some carcasses here in the centre position, and it might just really depend on one particular attacking play that could really separate the centres here.
Similar story for the wingers as well, boys. Not too many to select from either. We've all gone for Selwyn Cobbo, who's been absolute freak. And I think special shout out to you, Matt, this time 3 weeks ago. Yeah, the big, brave, bold call of playing 3 wingers in your side, and Selwyn Cobbo's name was amongst those 3 at the expense of, it was James Tedesco, wasn't it? Boys, we've both gone for Marky Mark as well ahead of Bostock. Matt, congratulations on that Cobbo pick, first of all. Do you think he can repeat what he did in game 2? And secondly, why Nwangani Tawaze on the right wing over Bostock when we think that New South Wales are going to have a bit more success down that left?
Yeah, it's an interesting point you make about Mark there. You know, we did just touch on the fact that I think there might be more attack down to the left-hand side, but Mark as a player running that ball out of his back half, I think gets more of those base stats when it comes to potential offloads and tackle busts as well. So when it comes to the GDS game, we really look for those base stats and minusing out those negative points. And for me, I think Mark might just be that stable figure. Do I think he's going to score 2 tries again? Probably not tonight, nor do I think Cobbo is going to get 3. But when we talk about the preview for the normal rounds throughout the season, the Roosters there have one of the worst right edges when it comes to the defensive side of it. And the 2 players that sit on that right-hand side are Toya and Marky Mark. So is there some potential opportunity to exploit that for Bostock? Absolutely. Unfortunately for me, I just don't own a Bostock Origin card. And I think sitting in this position at the top of the table, I might have to play it safe with an Origin mark over a Platinum Bostock.
I do have a Origin Bostock. If you're interested in a trade, mate, hit me up on Discord a little bit later on if you want to get a little bit funky. I think if you don't go for that trade offer, I think I might throw him to my side because still it's a bit of a toss-up, isn't it? We saw Marky Mark really good in his debut 3 weeks ago. Is the occasion going to get to Jack, do we think, playing? I mean, he played plenty of time on the left last season. He's been playing at right centre predominantly for the Finns this year. How do we think he's going to go on his debut? And why have you gone Nwangani Tawaze over Bostock?
Yeah, it's probably just that uncertainty. But I like Bostock as a massive pod, mainly because of what Queensland allow to left wingers. 48 GDS points for left wingers for New South Wales over the last 5-6 series. The right side is only averaging 42, so there's plenty of opportunity there. Yeah, it's probably just a relying on what we've seen already in terms of Nwangani Tawaze. Yeah, you're probably right. He's not going to score 2 tries every time. And the other thing actually with Marky Mark is he had plenty of attacking upside, but the demerits hurt him again. I think, Matt, you touched on that as well. And it just meant his score wasn't as pretty as probably what we're expecting based on what we saw on field. And it, like a lot of wingers, it means his floor is quite low as well, and he really relies on that upside. So I think Bostock could be something of a point of difference for a lot of coaches that, yeah, maybe aren't competing for that top 2 spot at the top there and want to go somewhere different. Play a Bostock, and you never know, because I guess the other thing to consider is, yeah, the Queensland versus New South Wales Origin card, you do get that 1.4 multiplier, but if a player scores 30 points, that multiplier is pretty much void. If you play a gold Bostock and he scores something similar, you're going to get a very nice score there as well with that goal. So it's about managing your salary. I think that's really important here, where we've seen a number of times it might not necessarily be a full Queensland versus New South Wales side that does win the competition tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those waiting for all of the expected changes to the 1 to 19, don't worry, because both coaches have made absolutely no changes. So all of that Cam Murray discourse throughout the week has come to nothing, and Blues and the Maroons will run out 1 to 19. So we don't need to discuss anything about the changes to the lineups, boys, but a nice little segue between the wingers and the fullback position might be, at the moment, we've all got the same 3 fullbacks in Ponga, Tedesco, and the Hammer. But Matt, I'll start with you. Is there a case for running 3 wingers again this round, given how much success you had with that strategy 3 weeks back in game 2?
Yeah, boys, I dropped a little spicy take there in the Discord. The old Homer at the Homer at the event with the chili, where he's dropping the chili in his mouth and he's absolutely on fire. This one could be the spiciest take of all time, but history shows that Kalen Ponga just does not show up when he's versing Nathan Cleary. So over his past 5 Origin games, we have Kalen Ponga averaging 16 GDS points. Now, there is a 2 points in there when he came off the bench when Reece Walsh was at fullback. But if you exclude that 2 points, his average goes up to a whopping 20 across 4 games. Now, we are fortunate that in this game, the lowest score drops out. And for a lot of us coaches there in game 1, Kalen Ponga was the lowest score and dropped out. And it wouldn't be too dissimilar for maybe some in game 3 last year as well. So, look, there is a point where maybe some base stats from a Critter or a Best or a Rob Toya, where they might just get that 30 to 35 points, could get us over the line or could get you a little bit further up the leaderboard than a really low score from Ponga. Ponga's highest score in Origin was actually last game when Queensland put on 44 points and Ponga only ended up with 37 of his own. So Ponga's never got more than 37 points in an Origin game. It makes me really nervous. You take that back to Clubland, boys, and this is where it starts to get a little bit spicy. In the past 3 years, Kalen Ponga has not scored more than 36 against Nathan Cleary, and he's played in 2 out of 6 games. So across the 7 games that Ponga has played against Cleary at both the club and New South Wales Origin level, nothing has been more than a 37 points. So
we're hearing a big FADE, a big fade there for Kalen Ponga. Dyl, your rebuttal, mate. Can you go into game 3, a must-win match without a KP in your side? There's a lot of evidence there to suggest why, and Matt's obviously got a pretty good track record there, fading Tedesco for similar reasons last game, and that obviously paid tremendous dividends. What's your rebuttal there?
Sure, I mean, the stats really tell the story. It's hard to rebut any of that. I mean, you've got to go on potential, I suppose, and look at the player that Ponga is and what he does most weeks when he's not playing Nathan Cleary. So that probably, to me, put a nail in the coffin, I think, more so than the Origin stats. It's his stats with Cleary. And Matty and I were talking about it, and Matt put out the thought that maybe it's something to do with Nathan Cleary's kicking game that just sort of restricts Ponga. For me, then, does it mean, because the lower score drops off, does it mean that there's a massive pod play opportunity and we get Reece Walsh into our sides?
Mate, we've
seen it before.
we've flirted with that. I think I did that. 2 or 3? Maybe it was that decider in 2024. Yeah. Well, if you're banking KP in for 20 points, why not go for some upside? But that probably goes back to the put in a Stephen Crichton or a Jackie Bostock there in your third position, and hopefully one of those guys can find the trial on a couple of times. Yeah, wow. Everyone that has been tuning into tonight's show definitely have something to think about in terms of that Kalen Ponga selection. Fortunately, we've still got just over 60 minutes to consider that. So Matt, you faded James Tedesco game 2. You like him to do something in probably what will be his farewell Origin appearance at Suncorp tonight?
Yeah, look, I think in the game 3 situations, Teddy is someone who stands up. It will be someone who gets some good base stats. I thought maybe heading into game 2 with New South Wales getting that win, there was just going to be too much attack there from Queensland, hence the Cobbo play. And that would always going to send us to a cider. So, look, I think for tonight, Tedesco is probably the number 1 for me when it comes into who I select in the back line, followed closely by Hammer there. But look, I think that third spot is really open at the moment. Whether we head towards a pod play, I think that could be the option. And to be fair, the Walsh out or the Bostock or the Critter could be a toss of the coin for who gets that third spot. But Teddy, for me, if he's going to be a salary option, I do think he might be a platinum or a gold for those playing tonight.
And Dill, to back that up, you've got some stats there about James Tedesco in Game 3 performances that might suggest loading up some salary on him if we don't own a Queensland versus New South Wales card.
Yeah, look, we're going to go back a little bit. 2022 and 2023, he played the Game 3 in those two series, and he scored 62 and 64, respectively, in both of those games. So, yeah, as you said, Matty, a big-time player. Game 3, all on the line. Tedesco is going to be the man that has to stand up for New South Wales, along with Nathan Cleary, as we said earlier. But I really like Michael Cossey's shout here of Ponga to score the first try and end up on 65 GDS points. If that comes true, I reckon we better get something out to Michael Cossey, because that is a great prediction that I do hope definitely goes our way.
That could ruin
the
boys.
Absolutely. And that third man on the screen there, Dill, the Hammer, actually has the superior average in terms of those three on the screen there. How is it that a right centre is averaging nicely more points than obviously Ponga, but also about 8 or so more than James Tedesco there at fullback? Is he a pretty easy play for you as well?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's just the upside that he presents. Obviously, that the average that we can see of Hammers in terms of the last two games in State of Origin, 51 average, but it's a little bit deceptive. He had 28 and then 73 or 74. So it is a little bit deceptive there. But it all comes down to the base and power, I think, within that upside of Hammer. And he just is one of those players that, look, if we have an injury in anywhere on the park, he's able to fill in, particularly at fullback, which we saw in Game 1. So I think, yeah, for me, he's just that player that you get into your side and he makes things happen on the back of nothing sometimes as well. He just gets his ball in his hand, or he is able to chase down a grubber, and all of a sudden he is there when we didn't think he was, and he changes the whole game. So I think for me, not just in terms of real life football, but in terms of GDS fantasy, I think Hammer's one of the best options for tonight. And look, if you don't have his Origin card, I think I'd be loading up on some salary, because he's got a big upside ahead of him.
Yeah, absolutely. Game-breaking speed, and therefore upside there on that left side of the field. The Maroons outside Cam Munster there, boys. On screen is the consensus starting 13. We'll run through it quickly, then, and then Matty, I'll get you to run through the three guys that you think are going to top score, and therefore the guys we should be loading up plenty of salary on. In the front row, we got Payne Haas, Isaiah Yeo, Cam Murray, those three Blues players that we spoke at length about at the start of tonight's show. Harry Grant, hooker position, no surprise there. Maxi Plath and Hutto Young. On the edges, our halves, we've gone Cleary and take your pick, Sammy Walker, Cam Munster. Both Cleary and Sam Walker have been outstanding for their respective sides in terms of fantasy points this season. Robbie Toya, Bradman Best as the centres, Selwyn Cobbo, Marky Mark on the wings, and James Tedesco just edges out Hammer and KP there for our fullback spot. Matty, top three players for tonight. Who should we be loading up our salary on?
The boys, we're going to go for Vi picks. We're going to stick with the Blues, and hopefully that we see some points in this game as well. So I think from a salary perspective, you know, we saw a little bit of a low game there from Nathan in Game 2, but Matt Script played a heavy hand into that one. So load up on Nathan Cleary, put a load up there on a Cam Murray, even though he's coming off the bench. That average there in the Origin arena this year is too high. So if you can platinum up a Cleary and a Murray, I think that's a good shout. And then let's hedge your bets with a gold Hammer. So what's his record now for scoring tries at Origin? Just almost Jenkins double standards at the moment in a regular round, right? So I think Hamaso is probably the play from Queensland's perspective.
And Dill, without piggybacking off Murray, Cleary and Hammer, where are you going with your salary?
Yeah, I'll say Hammer still, because I did say that before, but the other two, probably Payne Haas. I think he probably has a lot left in the tank from Game 2. We probably didn't see him at his best. I think this is where he's going to stand up. So I think Payne Haas is going to have a big game. And I think Maxi Plath off the bench on the other side of the field, I think he's going to have a similar Cam Murray type role. And I think we're going to see a big performance from him as well. So I think that's where I'd be loading up some salary on those two, as well as Hamaso.
All right, boys, let's tie up a couple of loose ends before giving our final thoughts and predictions. We'll run through BroDown ShowDown from round 18. Dyl had the win 2-1 there with Fine Filiaki and JMK, the Dolphins duo there, getting up over my Dyl Lucas, Api Coruscant, who suffered that injury. That hooker position was pretty tough when you had the serve there, Dyl. I think that's what it came down to. A win for you means everyone that selected Dyl in the BroDown ShowDown last week is entered in the draw for a pack. While you're getting that ready, mate, I've spun the winner off screen, and that winner was a good friend of the show, Michael Cozzy. Well done, mate.
Unreal. Alrighty, because it's a Origin special, Queensland versus New South Wales, I've got a unique pack for Michael Cozzy, and I'm going to open this unique pack. He's going to get all 9 cards. So
wow.
Good luck, Cozzy. Hope you get something good here, mate. Alrighty, let's get into it.
Boys, just while we're waiting, do you think a Diamond Jenkins for an Origin card Bostock is a good trade?
I've just seen that one jump up on the transfer market there. And
for anyone who's in the chat and wants to grab themselves a Diamond Tommy Jenkins, #1 winger in fantasy at the moment, head yourself to the transfer market and drop your Jack Bostock in my account.
Annoyingly,
love it.
He's one of the very few.
Alrighty, hopefully you can see those on screen.
Yeah, gotcha.
Alrighty, let's jump into it, and then we'll get back to that Bostock trade. Alrighty, Michael Cozzy, Adamaho in the plat,
Nice.
Bill Egan in the plat will save the diamond there. Maxi King's been on fire recently. Adam Mariota, Billy Kicks, you got another diamond in there as well. Grant Anderson, Dykes, and the diamond we've got Barber and Baker. So not great diamonds, but some unreal plats there to get into your squad as well. So Michael Cozzy, hit me up on Discord and we'll get that into your accounts.
In terms of the BroDown ShowDown, Queensland versus New South Wales, Game 3 edition, a little bit different to how it normally operates week in, week out, but we've picked a forward and a back each from the respective sides. We'll combine their scores. Payne Haas scores 50 and KP just 10. I'll get 60 total. Those are the 2 players I've gone for. Dyl has, gone for Cam Murray and Hammer. So if you think Dyl is going to get the cumulative combined score victory over me, type Dyl in the comment section or put that on the show before halftime of on the YouTube show video of before halftime of tonight's game. If you think my selections in Payne Haas and Kalen Ponga are going to outscore those 2, make sure you comment. Stu, Maddie, if you were to enter your hat into the ring for this, who are you voting for? Who do you think is going to come out on top?
Boys, I'm just going to put it out there. I think I'm 2 for 2 on this one so far, taking Stu in the first one and Dyl in the second one. And Dyl, you're going to get the win in the third one because Kalen Ponga is a fade tonight. He is an absolute fade. And I think that Murray and Hamiso are probably going to put up a combined 100. And you might get lucky to get a 60 there between Haas and Ponga.
Oh, massive ball there. Yeah, Dyl had the serve. I had the serve there. I went Payne Haas. Probably should have, in hindsight, gone that back there in the hammer because he would have been my selection for the Queensland back. Dyl, you've got a stat that you want to rattle off before we finish with our predictions.
Yeah, just having a look through Facebook, random stats guy threw up one. The last time Origin Decider was played on the 8th of July was back in 2015 at Suncorp Stadium. The score in that game was 52-6 to Queensland. So I think that's a little prediction for how tonight's going to go.
Ooh. And your rebuttal there, Matty, what's your prediction? How do you see tonight unfolding?
Yeah, I went onto Facebook as well, boys, and I follow this guy called Shit Stats. We found that Mitchell Moses is going to be a 2-time Game 3 winner and go full Conor McGregor on Queensland tonight and be the double champs. So up the Blues.
There you go. And if I have to settle the score there, I am, of course, going for a Queensland Maroons victory, the dominant side over Game 1 and Game 2. If you combine the scores when it's been 13 versus 13. It's been a knockout blow in terms of the boys north of the border. Thank you very much for joining us once again, everyone. Good luck in tonight, game 3. We'll be back next Wednesday for round 20 live preview show. Finally, we're getting back to a little bit of normality in terms of the regular season. Soon there'll just be the one team on the bye. All teams will be revving up for finals. But before we get there, boys, it's all State of Origin focus. Enjoy the game tonight. Whoever wins, I'm sure will still be best of mates and battle it out for end of season glory. Good luck tonight, Matty. Good luck, Dyl. Thanks again for joining us. And everyone in the comments, make sure you drop a like and thumbs up on all the Fantasy Bros content. That'll go a long, long way to helping us out and showing your support for us. Hopefully, we've talked you into a decent pick or two for tonight. Good luck and go the Maroons.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, Matty.
Good luck.
Cheers, guys.